Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Keep It on the DL. I'm Louis Angelillo, along with me always, Devin Bonanno. Dev, let's get to it. The breaking news of the week, Cam Newton is going to be a New England Patriot. Can't say we didn't see this coming.
Yeah, we saw this from a mile away. That's why Keep It on the DL is the best for your sports news. We had this a long time ago, Lou. We were both in agreement. This had Belichick written all over it. Definitely not a surprise here. He's going to fit in well with that offense. He's going to be a lot different than what a lot of Patriots fans have seen over the past 20 years. You go from Tom Brady, who ran like a 9.4 40, to Cam, who's infamous for dodging into the end zone but not diving for balls in the Super Bowl. So if the Pats make it back to the Super Bowl, hopefully Cam isn't fumbling any balls because Belichick's probably going to yank him out in the middle of the game because he's not going after it. But, I mean, they're going to have a legitimate quarterback. You know, I mean, the Patriots, again, with this move, at least to me, are again the favorites in the AFC East. Anytime you have Bill Belichick as your coach, they're always going to be dangerous on top of having an MVP caliber type player, former number one overall pick in Cam Newton, with a guy who can still play. And he still has Julian Edelman, too. So, definitely going to be a scary team. I'm not looking forward to playing against Cam Newton twice next year.
Yeah, I mean, Cam is Cam. We know what Cam brings to the table. We've seen Cam Newton play at an elite level of football. But the last few seasons, he really hasn't gotten back to that MVP level. So I'd be a little worried if I was the Patriots. I do think that them and the Bills, I'm going to put them at a push for first place in this division. Patriots defense is still legit. The Bills defense is still legit, but I almost would rather have Josh Allen than Cam Newton right now.
Wow.
I just think that he's taken a beating in the NFL. He really has. Cam Newton has taken a huge beating in the NFL over the last few seasons. I think you're going to see it impact him. You're going to see it in his mobility. You're going to see it in his arm. You kind of saw it in the end in Carolina before Kyle Allen took over. His arm was almost looked dead. He wasn't putting a lot on his throws. He couldn't throw the ball downfield with accuracy or velocity. I'm worried about Cam Newton, and I think that's why he only got $7.5 million maximum. So that's the most he can make, which is only $500,000 more than Andy Dalton. You know, he didn't get a 1 year, $10-12 million deal to be like the starter. So I think Stidham's probably a little upset, but yeah, I think Cam's going to be the starter. Don't get me wrong. Cam Newton's going to start week 1 for the Patriots, you know, barring all health issues. But I'm not all in on Cam Newton here. I do think it was the right move for the Patriots to go get him. So let me just say that it was the right move. I would have thought that they might have gone after Jameis Winston, someone who's not injury prone and, you know, has an arm. So going with Cam Newton it's the right decision for the Patriots. Don't want to just press their luck with Stidham.
I agree with a lot of what you said, Lou, but I mean, anytime you just know somehow Bill Belichick has this potion that he gives his players that they just turn into superstars out of nowhere. Look at Wes Welker. Look at Lawrence Maroney, even going way back. You know, you have guys like this that come into New England and somehow Bill Belichick gets the best football out of them. Somehow. You know, and regardless, Cam is a scary football player. He was arguably one of the best players in the game for a long time, for 5 or 6 years towards the beginning of his career. And yes, over the past 2-3 seasons, he has declined, but, I mean, he's still a guy that's going to be able to play. Hopefully he's going to be healthy. He has a little bit of health issues, but I really think Bill's going to get the best out of him, and the Patriots are going to be very happy to see him at quarterback. If I were a Pats fan, I'd be so happy to have Cam Newton as my quarterback.
I'd be encouraged and optimistic to have Cam at my quarterback, but also know that this isn't. I don't think this is the future for the Patriots. I would try to understand that because I really don't know what you're going to get out of Newton. And another thing is I agree. I want to piggyback off that Belichick and Cam relationship can't be toxic. If it's toxic, it's not going to work. Bill's going to want to do things his way, and Cam's just going to need to accept that. Cam can't come in with his ego and want to, dive. Bill Belichick is a proponent of not like jumping over the line with the football in the air, like risking fumbles, things like that. And I know this because I've heard a bunch of stories from my brother about Bill Belichick as a coach and what he tolerates and doesn't tolerate from players. He does not like players going airborne and like reaching over the line. And Cam Newton's a huge, he's reckless almost in good and bad ways. He's reckless and will jump over the line and reach for that extra yard, being uncautious with the football. But Cam and Bill's relationship is what's going to be the key for the Patriots offense.
No, it definitely will be, and like you said, John's a smart guy because he doesn't tolerate Belichick doesn't tolerate any BS or anything. But I mean, look at the personalities he's had come in and out of that room. I mean, he had Randy Moss, for God's sakes, and Randy Moss had arguably the best season, or he was part of the best offense in football history, really, in the regular season, the 2007 Patriots. With Brady throwing 52 touchdowns, so it's gonna be weird seeing Cam in a Pats uniform. But the first thing I thought of, Lou, and it's funny you mentioned that, is I just don't see Cam when it's 3rd and 7 and they're in the red zone and he's diving for the pylon and he gets in and he gets up and he's doing a Superman dance or pose, whatever you want to call it. I just don't see him doing that stuff in a Patriot uniform.
No, I think he will. He will. That's him. That's his thing. That's just who he is. Like, he's going to do the Superman stuff. I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean, we saw Gronk spike. Brady gets pretty into it when he throws a touchdown, showing emotion. I don't think there's going to be any issues with that.
You hope not. But I mean, as far as a rift between Belichick and Cam, I don't think that's going to be a problem. I mean, you rarely hear of anything between Belichick and any of his players being a big rift. You've been hearing about between he and Brady for the past how long, Lou? 3
years, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere along that line. But I mean, that's because you had the two best people at their positions, and arguably, again, in football history, just coinciding. So that was bound to happen too. But again, if I were a Pats fan, I'd be very happy. I think they're going to be getting a lot out of Cam this season. And again, I was so happy to see the Patriots just go down the AFC East. We'll just have them have one season where 5-11, kind of get rid of them for a year. They're going to be at the top of the AFC East, and this AFC East is going to be a dogfight because the Jets are going to be improved, the Dolphins are going to be very improved, and of course you have the Bills and the Pats. So it's going to be a dogfight for sure.
Yep, and I don't want to battle on this too long, but yeah, that Belichick and Cam relationship is what's going to make or break the Patriots offense this year. But Bill's smart. He's going to know what to do with Cam and how to treat Cam and how to, create a playbook for Cam Newton, because it's going to be almost opposite of what the playbook was for Brady. But also, I know you said he has Edelman, but Cam really doesn't have much else over there in New England to deal with. So he's in a tough situation as well. Also having to follow up Tom Brady. So Cam's in a tough situation. Yeah. But let's sticking with the Pats. After this, more breaking news came that they were fined $1.1 million and lost a third-round pick next year for their videotapes being found and cameras being found Week 14 at the Bengals facility when the Browns played the Bengals. So I don't know, Patriots, I guess they just can't get out of their own way. Apparently their excuse for this was like some sort of documentary thing. I don't know what it was. Belichick wasn't even aware that it was going on, but it's kind of we've seen this before, so stop. So I thought they were a little harsh here taking away a draft pick, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was a little harsh too, but I mean, I think the punishment came down because of their track record. That's why.
Absolutely.
That's the only reason why. I mean, let alone it's 13 years that have gone by, but I mean, it's illegal. Belichick, whether he knew it or not, he's the head coach. I just find it hard to believe that he didn't know what was going on, considering he's the biggest control freak probably in the history of mankind. I find it hard to believe that he didn't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Belichick knew. It was something about. I don't even think it was related to the Patriots. It was just its own kind of thing. But yeah, I like the fine. I think the fine's reasonable, the 1.1 mil. But the draft pick, it's going to hurt them. I mean, a third-round pick is very valuable, and that's just ripped away from the Pats. But when you have a track record of this, just don't have cameras anywhere else except your facilities. Just learn. And just don't be stupid. It's like it's almost like COVID. It's like don't be stupid. Don't go out to a huge public place where there's 40, 50 people. Just don't be stupid. Just keep your cameras at your place. Period.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I mean, the third round pick, I thought that was a little harsh. Even coming from a Jet fan, a third-round pick, Lou, just how you said, it's very valuable. That's a huge trade
Yeah,
piece.
a seventh rounder would be like whatever.
Right. I mean, that's inside 90 picks. Yep. When you look at it that way, that's
top 100.
It's going to hurt them. And you know, Belichick loves those mid-round picks.
Absolutely loves them. He normally takes the D2 guys with those picks. So that is going to hurt. But enough with the Patriots. Yes. Let's get to the NHL. The draft happened this week. Not the draft. The draft lottery happened this past week. So break it down for us, Dev. What do we got?
All right. So here's what we got. So it's obviously with very unique situation going on in the NHL. The NHL decided to still have the draft lottery on last Friday, and we, of course, know all the teams that are in the playoffs and the teams that are out of the playoffs. So there were 7 teams that were known. They were the Sharks, the Senators, the Red Wings, the Devils, the Ducks, the Kings, and the Sabres. Those teams all had the highest chance to win the number 1 pick. But usually, under normal circumstances, there are only 16 teams that make the playoffs. This year, of course, there are 24. So, for the other 8 spots for the NHL Draft Lottery, they were placeholders. And those placeholders will be filled in by the teams that lose in the qualifying round. Long story short, we had one of those placeholder teams win the number 1 overall pick. So they had a sub 6.5% chance to win the number 1 overall pick, and they did. And as a hockey fan, I was very, very upset about it, and I think hockey fans across were very, very upset about it. As a Devil fan, yes, I wanted to win the number 1 overall pick. We've had it 2 of the past 3 years. I wouldn't have even been upset if the Senators or the Red Wings have it, but you're going to have a team that loses in the qualifying round, like the Penguins, like the Rangers, like Winnipeg. You have talented teams that can lose in the qualifying round and potentially get the number 1 overall pick in the NHL draft. So there's going to be a second drawing, and all the qualifying teams will have a 12.5% chance to win that number 1 overall pick. I just think that it's crazy, but you just had to know that this was going to happen. It was impossible. This had it written all over. I was completely prepared for this, and once Bill Daly came out and said I was only given 7 cards, which means that one team from the placeholder position had moved up into the top 3, I just knew it was a number 1 overall pick. And, I just feel bad for the Red Wings. The Red Wings had under 50 points this year, historically had one of the worst seasons in NHL history. And they got bumped out, not even of the number 1 spot, but they got bumped out of the top 3, which is insane. And then the Ottawa Senators, they had the number 2 and 3 positions because they had the San Jose pick for this Erik Karlsson trade. They didn't even get number 2 or 3. They get 3 and 5. It's just insane. And the Devils moved back to 7 from 6. I don't know. This is going to have a big effect on the NHL for a long time, considering that the number one prize prospect coming out of Canada this year, rather that's draft eligible, is Alexis Lafreniere, highly touted prospect. He is the second player to win back-to-back MVP awards in the queue ever since Sidney Crosby. So it just speaks volumes about what kind of player he is, and potentially he could be playing alongside Crosby next year. So it's going to be very interesting. I just really hope the Penguins and the Rangers do not win this lottery. If the Canadians win, I think it'd be really cool to have a French-Canadian kid play for the Canadians, or even a team like Winnipeg, or even Arizona, with the Taylor Hall connection there. Taylor Hall is known to be the NHL draft guru. Seems everywhere he goes, his team wins the number one overall pick. But very interesting here, and obviously with everything going on, with the season being on pause, we're not going to know who wins the overall pick for quite some time.
That was a lot to digest right there. But who this whole thing is, it's banana land. It's crazy that someone that's competing for a playoff spot is going to get the number one overall pick. So, who is psyched? That's Ranger fans. Because no matter what, they're going to have a chance at the number one overall pick.
Yep.
Whether they win or lose their playing game, they're going to have a chance at the number one pick. So because they have Carolina's, the team that they're playing. So they win, they get Carolina's pick. They lose, they hold their own pick. So the Rangers have a 12.5% chance at the number one pick no matter what happens. They could win the Stanley Cup and have the number one pick. No?
Well, no, they can't. I forget why, but no team in the playoffs can win the Cup and get the number one pick. I don't know why. But you're right about that. Regardless, they could win the round and they still have Carolina's picks. It'll be lottery eligible, or if they lose, they'll have their own pick.
Like that's kind of so they just don't get Carolina's pick.
I gotta read the specifics on the conditions of the pick.
That seems crazy to me. Like, guess what? We made the trade. That's the trade deal. And sorry, we won the Cup, but that's the way it is. I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to look it up.
That's like, I don't know. That'd be like the Jets trading a 2022 or 2020. Let's go 2024 first round pick to the Bengals for AJ Green, and the Bengals stink in 2024 and have the number one pick, and they're like, no, Jets, you can't win the Super Bowl in 2024 and have the Bengals first round pick. Like, that's not right.
Yeah, I know, but I want to see. Oh, the Blue Shirts will have 2 first round picks. Yes. We'll get to the Carolina pick in a moment, but let's start by looking at the Rangers' own slot. If the Rangers are eliminated by the Canes, then their pick go to 1 of 2 routes. They'll have an opportunity to win the number 1 overall pick. If they don't win the Phase 2 lottery, they'll end up picking 9 through 14. But
so then the Carolina has the same thing. They have the chance of the number 1 pick, and then we'll end up picking 9 through 14, or 9 through 14.
I don't know. Oh, wait, so I don't know. We'll have to get back to you on that because I can't find the specifics on it. But Bill Daly, in the middle of the draft lottery, did say that no team can win the Cup and the first overall pick. Which, if that were true, if that weren't true, and the Rangers did win the Cup and the number 1 overall pick, I'd be off the sports map and off the grid for a very, very, very long time. You will not be hearing from me. I could promise you that. I think that's my worst nightmare. I'd be living it on top of having no baseball.
I don't know. In just a year of absolutely bizarre things, I think it would be awesome.
Yeah, it's so fitting though. You're right. Of everything.
What can go wrong will go wrong.
Yeah, it really will.
But for the Rangers,
oh my God.
I mean, so if they win the Cup, then they don't have a chance at the number 1 pick. Carolina gets to keep their pick. But if they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, then it's okay. If they lose the Eastern Conference Finals, now you can have a shot at the number 1.
I guess so. We'll have to tweet the specifics. We'll look through it tomorrow. We'll tweet the specifics if anybody's interested. If any of you hockey fans are that interested, or tweet at us. But supposedly they cannot win the cup in the number 1 overall pick.
Well, there you have it. So that's your draft havoc in the NHL.
Very confusing. It's a lot, but
definitely. Now we have COVID obviously coming in hot. 26 NHL players test positive, and 16 of 302 NBA players tested positive for the virus. So this is going to be an obstacle in coming back. And the players, it's basically going to come down to the players and how smart they want to be and how their willingness to just stay home, stay isolated, stay in that hotel room in Orlando for the NBA to have the rest of their season played out. And if you saw First Take, Stephen A. Smith is like, these guys are not going to be able to resist and be alone in their hotel room for months and not have any sort of female companionship.
Well, I think that's just one element. I mean, of course you got that. Like you said, you got all these single guys, whatever they do on the road, whether it's hanging out with other women or just kind of doing their own thing, hanging out in the cities. To me, I just think the whole bubble thing, the idea is right, but I just think it's unrealistic too. I mean, these guys are going to be there for 3-4 months. You think they're not going to leave this bubble?
I know.
It's insane. And as far as the numbers go, Lou, I mean, it's a good thing because you have the testing. It's a good thing because you know who has it and what's not. But it was inevitable to in other words, I'm trying to say, I'm not surprised that you're having guys test positive. This was the whole part of the plan, and the leagues had to be prepared for this. And I'm surprised the numbers are as low as they are, at least right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's gone down. COVID's gone down in areas that got hit hardest when this started. So COVID has gone down in those areas, but it's the areas that never really went on a complete lockdown and have had restaurants open and didn't have mandatory masking public laws. And you see that going on in Texas, Florida, Arizona, those 3 big states. Oklahoma, they're saying, is on the rise now big time. It's just these states and it's the people not taking it seriously. And I mean, wearing a mask in public just isn't that hard. It's just not that hard to do. It's just courteous to do. And if you don't like it, then just don't go out in public that much. I mean, what do you need to be in public areas for anyway if you're really going to refuse to wear a mask? Just like sit out in your backyard and, invite those couple people you want over and you're fine. But when you're in public places and stuff, just wear the mask and COVID will go down. I mean, we've seen it happen.
Yeah, I know. We've seen it happen. And I mean, baseball, I mean, I think it's just cool that, not cool, but the differences between the leagues. Like, you have the NBA promoting the bubble, but then baseball, you're still going to be traveling from state to state, from stadium to stadium, city to city, even though they are just staying within the same time zones, essentially. But it's going to be interesting. I know we're going to touch upon the NBA soon, but I mean, it's just going to be weird. I just think it's a lot to ask of these guys not to have lives outside the basketball for 4 months.
Yeah.
Socially and whatever the other word is.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to do, but if you just be smart about it. Wear the mask. Know where people have been. Just if we're just smart about it, we can have sports. Just be smart about it and, take necessary precautions and we should be able to have sports. That goes for every league, NHL, NBA, MLB. Just be smart. In football, don't mess anything up because you're on track to have a season. Just don't mess up anything. Please.
Oh my God. Yeah,
don't mess up anything because, their NFLPA already came after Brady and Russell Wilson, scrutinizing them for having these self-hold practices or meetings or whatever, saying, like, we can't do these. Like, stop it, knock it off. Like, this is not what we want right now, not what we need right now, and it's the 2 best quarterbacks in the game. So that's not great to see either. But sticking with the NBA here, some things that they're going to be doing in Orlando. Nike and them came to an agreement that they're going to allow them to put social statements on their jerseys, and as well they're going to have the Black Lives Matter logo on their courts for the games. So they're going to have whatever they can say, I guess, on part of their jersey, and they're going to have the logo on the court. And the Black Lives Matter movement, it's not, I don't want to call it political because I don't think it is political. I think it's a movement is what it is. And to put it on the court, it obviously is going to pertain to most of the NBA fan base. So they're not going to be, it's not like people aren't going to watch the NBA now because of the Black Lives Matter logo on the court. Their audience is mostly do support this, so I don't think it's going to hurt them. I'm kind of indifferent on it. It's like, if you want to put it there, put it there. If you don't want to put it there, don't. I don't think it's hurting anyone by it being there, so I'm not going to be like, get it off the court or, give them 3 claps for putting it on. I'm pretty indifferent to it. If it's on there, it's on there. It's not hurting anyone by that being on the court. But I will say this about on the jerseys and, statements or whatever it is on their jerseys. I'm just like old school classic. Like, I love that the Yankees don't have names on their jersey because it's not about the jersey, it's about the team. So when I look at a jersey, I want to think of the team. I don't think the jersey is a billboard for players. I don't. I think the player's billboard is social media. You want to, put whatever you want out on your page, get your word out that way. I don't think that, maybe pregame warm-ups is fine. Put social justice statements on your pregame warm-ups. But I think the jersey is for the team. And it should be more about the team and not about the player on someone's jersey. Whether you put something on there that maybe one of your players just don't agree with, rubs them the wrong way. If it's different if you put that on your social media than have it on your jersey. Because it's just when you play a team sport, it's about the team. It's not about what's on your jersey. And I don't like this move by the NBA, letting them put social justice statement on their jersey. That's just me. I'm not against it if they do something in pregame, have something on their pregame jerseys, something like that. But I just think the jersey should be about the team. I don't know. What's your take?
Yeah, I could not agree with you anymore. And touching upon the Yankee jerseys, it annoys me that the swoosh is on there.
Yeah.
And obviously it's going to be on there for a very, very long time now with Nike's new deal with the MLB, and I can't stand that. And even with the MLB, with the NBA allowing the ads on the jerseys, like you said, also with the Sixers having StubHub and the Lakers having, everybody has a main sponsor. I can't stand, even though it's a little bit on, I believe it's on the right. Yeah, like the right.
Yeah, like the right shoulder or left shoulder, whatever it is. I don't like it on there either. I think the jerseys are just, that's your team. Period.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much for some reason. I don't know if it's just because I'm accustomed to seeing it on soccer jerseys or because it looks good, but that's fine, But the jersey's supposed to encompass the team, and it gets distracting. It just doesn't look good,
It gets to be too much going on.
Right, exactly. Too much going on. Of course, with everything going on politically, it's probably, even if it's just a one-time thing for the NBA, considering probably more so than any other sport, they've had players be more outspoken. It works for them, and that's why they're putting on the court and on their jerseys. That's why, and it's obviously a very big topic, so it's okay. I just hope it doesn't become a norm.
Right. Like I said, there's nothing wrong with putting something on the back of your warm-up jersey. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't think the cameras are going to take a picture of LeBron? Like, the cameras are going to take a picture of the back of your jersey if you have a political statement, or not even a political statement, a social justice statement. I shouldn't say political statement, a social justice statement. And to put it on the back of your warm-up jersey, I'd be totally fine with that. It's just something about the game jersey, and even in high school, we had like leftover money in our sports budget, and we were able to get new jerseys, and they got them with names on the back, and I was like, I don't know, I enjoy, it's cool to have your name on the back of your jersey because it's yours, or people see it, it's cool, but especially when you're in high school. But part of me is still just like, I don't know, it just didn't mean much to me that my name was on the back of the jersey. It was about the logo on the front and competing with your team. So that's just what your jersey on the field means to me. I mean, like I said, you want to have warm-up jerseys with your name on them, go ahead, do whatever you want to the warm-up jerseys. I don't care what you put on there. That's not the jersey you're going to be playing with. So that's basically where I stand on it.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we see eye to eye on that, Lou, because, I mean, even for me playing high school sports, I love not having my last name on my jersey. I love how it's just a number. It's unique. It's symbolic, at least to me, and I mean that's probably the Yankee fan in us.
Yeah.
But I love that, and you know what? Even I think it's the Red Sox. I think they're the only team that doesn't have last names on their jerseys, and they only do it at home.
Yes, the road they have them on.
Their alternates on the road they
yes.
do. I know the Cubs used
No, they got
to,
names on them. Yeah.
They have it now. Yeah, they have it now. So I think that's how it. I mean,
the Giants are another one that only have it on the road.
The Giants, right? Exactly. Yep. Yeah, I forgot about them too. I mean, it's a cool thing. It's old school, and that's exactly what
I
it
guess
is.
I'm an old school guy at heart, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you.
So another thing the NBA is going to do, they're probably going to be on tape delay, whether it's 30 seconds, a couple minutes, I don't know, maybe even 10, with no fans in the stands, they're going to try to limit the swearing that's going to happen on the court. Players, no shock, players curse on the court, guys, it happens. But I guess they don't want to be prominent, on the court mics and things like that are going to be much more prominent now. You're going to hear a lot more of what people say. So they might try to, I guess, just blur it out when they show it on TV. So there might be some kind of delay there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't done that already, to be honest with you. That'll definitely become a norm for the NBA. And it'll be nice because this is probably the time where they could use a meaningful season, regular season type thing, and obviously with the playoffs, and test out things that they could possibly implement for the long term.
Yeah, I don't know. I want to watch a game live. I do think it's going to be necessary with no fans, but once fans come back, they don't need to do this. I don't think it's a big deal. I really don't, because it's not like every NBA game you watch, you go and you said, "Wow, I heard 3 F-bombs this game." Like I don't really hear that on TV enough. I don't. And John Boy's going to break it down if they curse
wish I did.
anyway.
Yeah. I know. I'd be so down for more F-bombs.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be cool to watch it uncensored, but yeah, I mean, obviously for kids watching out there, it's the right thing to do, but should not be the norm.
It's the right thing.
I do not agree with you there. I don't think it should be the norm.
What, censoring?
Yes, like putting things intentionally on tape delay to prevent cursing when fans come back.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think that should be the norm.
Oh, I'm surprised.
No.
Well, I mean, essentially, tape delays don't work nowadays. They might have worked 20 years ago, but they don't work now because everything's live tweeted, and Game Center is going to be ahead of
Game Center is going to be ahead.
It's going to ruin it. I mean, think about it. You have the Lakers and the Clippers in the Western Conference Final, or think about that Kawhi shot last year against the Sixers.
Buzzer beater. You're going to know before it actually goes in.
You're going to know before.
But they might account. They're probably going to account for that and be like, "Hey guys, wait for a minute after it goes in to post."
Yeah, but how are they going to make sure everybody?
Yeah, I mean, everyone wants to be first, right? All Twitter people, they all want to be first. So
they're the press. They're the press. Yeah, that's what's going to suck about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get but we're just going to reflect on what's been going on in the MLB really quickly. We're going to get into Yanks and Mets expectations last week, but some things in baseball that are happening now. Something to look forward to for the Yankees. Cole versus Scherzer is going to be your opening day matchup on July 23rd. So 2 potential Cy Young candidates going at it day one. What a way to kick off the season here. I thought they might have done it with the Red Sox or the Mets, but hey, I'm okay with Cole Scherzer to start the season.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I think it would have been cool to have Yankees Mets opening day. When are you ever going to really have that anymore? I mean, I guess they technically can because now Interleague is throughout the year now. It's not just in June anymore. But I mean, you can't beat a Cole Scherzer opening day. Scherzer's first real start in the Yankee uniform. Scherzer, the best pitcher in the National League. They're both going at it, hitting the ground running in a 60-game season. I'm ready. I'm ready to tune in. Hopefully, it's the lone game on that 23rd of July, and then they just take the off day and then play that Sunday or that Saturday.
I wonder
if
the Yankees are going to watch them get their rings and stuff like that too.
I don't know how that's going to work. I was thinking about that the other day, Lou. It's funny you said that. Are they going to have a ceremony? Yeah. But I think they did get their rings already. Did they? I think so.
Because I'm trying to say, I know they do they might do like a banner drop and things like that.
Right.
And especially, I think the Nationals are home. Yeah, I'm positive the Nationals are home.
Yeah, the Nats would be home. Yeah, it's in D.C.
So the Yankees might see that, get some extra incentive for the season there. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, no, that'll be awesome. It'll be cool seeing Scherzer go up against that Yankee lineup.
Yep,
too.
Judge homered off him in the All-Star game. Don't forget.
Yes, he did. In that park, too.
Yes, history repeats itself, right? As we've seen in 2020.
Yeah. Too soon. Too soon, Lou.
And they're also announcing in the MLB that a longer postseason has not been ruled out yet. Another way to revenue, try and make more money, having a longer postseason. I wouldn't be against this just because of how short the season is. The more opportunities for teams, I think the better here.
Yeah, I agree. And why not? I mean, it's going to be such a weird season. Why not do this type of stuff, and make more money off of it and help more teams get into the playoffs and have fan bases that might be a few years outside the playoffs and they, in a normal season, get a taste of the postseason,
Exactly.
That'd be cool.
Yep, so tomorrow's July 1st. That's when players are supposed to report to camp. I think some might be reporting Thursday or Friday. I don't know the whole details. Doesn't really matter. They're reporting, between tomorrow and Friday. So you've heard some players back out, and the biggest name in that was Jordan Zimmerman, first baseman for the Nats, is not reporting to camp this year. Will be taking 2020 off, but did not say that he was retiring. He doesn't know what his future baseball career holds. That was the biggest name. Other names, Mike Leake started it off, pitcher for he was on Seattle. Is he still on Seattle? He might have went somewhere.
No,
Diamondbacks now?
Arizona,
Joe Ross, and the other one was Ian Desmond today for the Rockies. Yep.
Ian Desmond today, yep.
So those players will not be participating in 2020, and who knows if we're going to see more in the next couple of days.
Yeah, I mean, they have until tomorrow, which is technically July 1st, if we're going to have any more. But, I mean, 3 known names around baseball, no superstars, but obviously the third baseman for the defending World Series champions, and Ian Desmond, who's been a journeyman in the MLB, but hits for average and is still a respectable guy in the box. And I mean, the Diamondbacks are going to lose a starter too. That's a big arm that they're going to lose. I believe that's their number 2 guy.
Yeah, especially with Greinke gone there. So that's really going to do it for MLB this week. We're going to get into Yanks Mets expectations next week. That'll be fun. And we're going to end with some college football news here. Dev, on the Ivy League, what do you got?
Yeah, so there was a little blurb today. ESPN actually saw that while we were out at dinner tonight. But the Ivy League is thinking about postponing their football season from the fall of 2020 and playing it in the spring of 2021. And they would play from late March to early April through late May. So that would definitely be very weird watching football in the spring. No spring game, and obviously there's a big conflict there with lacrosse.
And baseball, yeah. And some of those dual sport athletes, too. You see a lot of dual sport athletes in baseball and football.
Yeah.
Guys that are pitchers and guys that are quarterbacks, too. You know, some tight ends or first basemen.
Right.
So that's crazy. I thought that maybe when they said spring, I'm thinking, all right, they're going to come back in January, play the month of February, March, and April. That's what I was thinking. But no, that's literally spring.
Yeah, literally spring.
I think that's too late, to be honest.
Literally spring. Yeah, it's weird. I mean, you're going to have a 3-month off season. I mean, I guess for college it doesn't really matter.
Right. What about the guys that wanted to graduate after football season? Too. It screws with everything. I mean, I guess I would have been for. I think I would have been for it. January, February, because you still get those cold months of the year and so on. Yeah. But I don't know. It's just too much for me. I think lacrosse, football, baseball is it's too much. And if you can't get it in fall, these college players over the summer the spring semesters that lost their seasons because of COVID. So if they have to lose theirs, so be it.
Yeah, and knowing the Ivy League, I mean, they were the first group, I guess you could say, to back out of March Madness this year too. Right. So, I mean, if they're coming out and saying this, it's a very. I mean,
if everyone does it, fine. If all schools do it, fine. But just for the Ivy League to do it, it's a little silly to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think that's weird. I mean, no national champions are going to be coming out of the Ivy League anytime soon, but it'd still be kind of strange.
Right. But another team, pretty sure Morehead State already set their football team, the first team to give out scholarships, canceling the football season this year. Just canceled it. They didn't do it, not even what the Ivy League said in postponing it, just flat out said there's not going to be a football season this year at Morehead State.
Yeah, I just think it's way too premature. I just think that's a little weird. Just coming out and saying that there's not going to be any football, and not even postpone it like the Ivy League, or even think about it. I mean, I feel bad for seniors, that aren't good. It's really going to be their last season of football ever. There are these guys that have been playing football for 20 years just to get an academic or an athletic scholarship. Most of them, if any, are going to go to the NFL at Morehead State, but I feel bad for those guys, and again, I mean, it's June 30th. Give it some time. What's the rush in canceling?
Absolutely. I mean, I know it's Morehead State, but I mean, other schools too, if they were to cancel, there are seniors that have a remarkable season and put themselves in a round 5 or 6 pick from a remarkable senior season. There are players that do that maybe weren't good their first 3 years, but really were just a senior standout that can get them into the draft in the late rounds. So those players are going to miss that opportunity, and it's tough. It's going to be extremely tough.
Yeah. It is. It's a good point, Lou. You have guys that were kind of standout wide receivers or tight ends that sneak in the 6th or 7th round, or even those guys just make a name for themselves in careers off of being special team specialists in the league, off of really one good season in a school like Morehead State type of thing. That's what you're going to miss out on. And I don't understand the rationale in canceling so abruptly.
Right. And 2 other schools we'll touch on quick. Kansas State is planning a a boycott of their sports until there were students at the campus that made a very insensitive video reflecting and mimicking the death of George Floyd with the cop, and the Kansas State athletes are boycotting until those students are held responsible. And I can't say I disagree with them. I think that this is, a good stand to take. These guys, it's not like these guys don't want to wear masks and we're not going to play until they wear masks. This isn't that. These guys did something that could cause for expulsion, and just a very awful thing to mimic and do, especially in today's society. And I stand with the Kansas State players. I think that this is right of them to do.
Yeah, I completely understand their stance on this and why they're doing it. For sure, I don't know the specifics. You kind of just told me not too long ago, but I mean, at the same time, it's kind of how stupid you have to be with everything going on. That's how you're going to be acting. That's where you're going to be mimicking. I mean, a man lost his life regardless of where you are politically on the spectrum. I mean, why are you acting like that and mimicking people so that lost their lives? So I definitely am with the Kansas State players on this for sure, and knowing how a lot of things have gone, this will definitely have an impact on things for the better.
Right, and I hope that it does work out, because I do support this boycott. I hope that this school does not let them back and these players can have their seasons. But if the school puts out some statement about how they're not going to expel them, it would be really hard for me as a college athlete to keep a boycott going, knowing especially if I was a player that was high up going to be drafted. I mean, at that point I would just look for a transfer. I would try to transfer myself out of there. So I think you might see transfers from Kansas State if the school doesn't take this seriously, and they just have like an awful season. But I do want those students to play and those players to get looked at and have a shot to move up on their careers. So I do hope the school does the right thing and listens to these players.
Exactly, and I think they will. I mean, a lot of these universities and colleges, they've been very, very proactive on the whole thing. So I'm definitely not worried about Kansas State coming out and sending out a statement or making sure some changes are taking place. And
the final school here, I forgot to run this one by you before we started, so you're hearing this now for the first time. I don't know if you saw, but the Alabama mayor stepped down after the football team made a Black Lives Matter kind of video, or a social awareness, social justice kind of video that the Alabama players made, and the mayor was extremely upset by it and just stepped down. So I think that's an extremely weak, feeble move by the mayor, just to say hey and step down, and you can kind of see how different life is in Alabama than it would be in New York and other parts of the U.S.
Yeah, it's just a cowardly move. I didn't hear anything about that, Lou. I actually saw the one thing that said that if there's no season in Tuscaloosa, that the city itself could lose $1 billion just from there being no football season. That's the only thing I saw. But, I mean, come on. I mean, you're a political figure. You got to, I don't know what you're resigning for. I think that's just a little too extreme. Especially, again, with everything going on, you just have to be conscious of that. Wherever you fall, just be weary about what other people are saying. You don't have to just quit.
I mean, it says it right there, in the headline. Alabama mayor resigns after post about Crimson Tide's Black Lives Matter video. I mean, it's almost, it's a good thing this happened, because that shouldn't be someone who's mayor. Alabama should not have a mayor like that. So it's almost good that this happened.
Right. Yeah. You're 100% right on that, Lou.
It's almost like it's almost like thanking the guy that I've heard it. This is going to sound weird, but it's almost like thanking the guy that your girlfriend cheated on you with. So you knew that, your girlfriend wasn't the right one in a weird way. Not that the mayor was something special, but it's like, I'm glad that it happened. Thank you for doing this.
Yep. What is Victoria doing behind your back?
No, absolutely nothing.
Come on. Vic,
she's not doing anything. You know that.
I know.
Great, not good.
Girl. But I mean, that's a very good analogy, Lou, for sure. Yeah, it's like, thanks. You actually kind of saved me some worry there.
Yep.
Like if this is really who our mayor was. I mean, good thing I kind of saw it now, or he didn't go through his term without acting like this, and he was like this the whole time. If that makes any sense.
Right. Yeah. So that's pretty much going to do it for this episode of Keep It on the DL. We will be back next week talking Yanks and Mets expectations. A lot of baseball. Will be a weekend with, their, I guess you can still call it their spring training week or so. So we will see you guys next week.
Yeah, see you next week.